Hello, I'm Crafty Patti, and thanks for stopping in today. It's getting to the end of my summer where I live, and I only have a few flowers left blooming. So before they're totally gone, I really wanted to try some hammered flower printing. Now the technique is very easy, but not all flowers will release their pigments. So I will put a list of what flowers are the best to try and ones that aren't so good and won't really give much of an imprint. Now keep in mind that today we are imprinting on just watercolor paper, and pigments from flowers, they just won't last forever. So depending on the flowers, depending on the intensity of the color, depends on the type of flower and the environment, will see how long your imprints will last. Now you can spray your final piece of artwork with a UV protective fixative, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But for a lot of artists who really love what they've created, they will scan their artwork or photocopy it, and then of course then you've got it for a lot longer. So let's show you my setup and let's try some flowers. As always, I will leave a full list of the supplies I'm using in the description box below this video, as well as any links to any of the products. So I've got an old scrap piece of wood from the workshop and a scrap piece of my watercolor paper because I want to try a few flowers first and just see what we get. One of the flowers that they say doesn't do so well is hydrangea. But for some reason, I just can't believe them because it's such a beautiful flower. So I am going to do a test here. I'm going to take off a couple of the leaves here, and I will cut off some of the blossoms from this main part of the plant, and we're going to give the hydrangea a test because I just have to. I have to know. Leaves take longer to imprint. So I'm going to start with a couple of the hydrangea leaves, and we're going to just do a test here. I've placed the leaves the right side down, and then over that I'm going to place a piece of paper towel. And then I'm just going to come in, and it's not a real pounding with the hammer like this, but you're tapping. This is going to cause a lot of noise, so I'm going to take off the sound on this video, but you'll still be able to watch the process. Now you can see already on this first one that you can see a lot of pigment coming into the paper towel. So just for a test, let's just bring this one up and let's see what we get. So it's imprinted on the paper towel. Has it imprinted on the watercolor paper? A little bit. It's not bad. So now that I know that it will imprint, and it is a hydrangea, so I'm going to try to replace that back down where I had it. And I'm just going to keep hammering a little bit more. This paper towel is getting a little bit on the wet side, so I'm just going to find another spot here. And we'll hammer some more and see what we get. So you can start with a lighter tapping in the beginning. And then later on you can come in, it's not one of these, but still straight down, but a little bit harder tapping. And here's my second leaf. I don't mind that at all, but we're going to try the flower part. Take off some individual little flower segments here. Now to keep these in place, I'm just going to use some washi tape and just go right across all of these here. And I'm using washi tape rather than Scotch tape because washi tape isn't as sticky and it won't damage my watercolor paper. And I'm going to lift those off. So we can maybe go one across here, hold that one in place. I'm going to cut off some of these, now that I've got them placed, some of these longer stems, just so it's easier to place my paper towel on top. And let's try the hydrangeas that aren't supposed to work. All right, I'll take the sand off again. And there's the final reveal. Now this was an experiment with putting down my leaf first and then I put the flower on top. So you can see what happened is obviously the flower didn't totally cover the leaf, so the leaf is coming through to the background. So I think for the next one I would make sure that the leaf was totally off to the side and not in the same position as the flower. But that's the hydrangea and it's not supposed to work. I don't know. I think it worked for me. I'm feeling kind of confident. So I've actually cut up a half sheet of a 9x12 watercolor and then folded this in half, and that makes the perfect size card. So let's try and do a beautiful card. I'm going to try some salvia. Geraniums is one of the flowers that is supposed to work well. So I'll put some of those in there. It's always okay to have artwork coming off the edge of your page. And I do like things in threes rather than even. So I'm going to put another one down in there maybe. And let's have some fun again. And again, I will hammer away here until I see the pigment coming up on top. I'm finding that the pigment's coming up a lot faster this time with the geranium. Anyways, I don't want to ruin your ears, so I'm going to take off the sand here. Let's see what we've got. It's definitely left some color behind. I'm going to take my chance and I'm going to take off my washi tape and we'll just see what we've got. So if some of your plants are sticking, you can just let it dry, or you can get your blow dryer out and dry it up a little bit. So there's the salvia. It just turned kind of browny color, which is fine. And here's the geraniums. So the pink geraniums turned purple, which is still very pretty. But you got a pretty good imprint on those. I feel my composition is just lacking just slightly. So I'm going to come in and now I'm going to try some impatiens. So let's try a couple impatiens. Again, I'll probably want to go into 3s. So let's put one there, here. In the reveal, there's my 3 impatiens, and there was an orange, a brighter pink, and not so bright pink. So the pinks turned purple, and the orangey one turned pink. But impatiens works really well, I think. Now let's experiment with some leaves. I have a Japanese maple. This is a burning bush leaf. This is the leaf off of the impatiens plant. This is a leaf off some verbena. And this is a leaf from the geranium. And here's the reveal for the leaves. So the burning bush leaves, I think, would take a lot of hammering, but some did come out. Japanese maple, beautiful. Nothing from the verbena, or very little. And that's our geranium, I think a little bit too wet. And that was our impatiens. So, out of these ones, the burning bush, I think, will work. You just have to probably hammer a lot longer. It's actually quite pretty. But the Japanese maple is a winner. I've got a bookmark, and this time I'm going to try some sweet azalea, however you want to pronounce that. Alison, Alison, Alison. And here's the reveal on those. Ooh, I'm actually quite impressed by that. So the Alison created this. I like how those turned out. Very nice. I'm not 100% sure on the name of this flowering plant, but I believe it's another family of the salvia. So I'm going with that. If you know any more, then please in the comments let me know. I never know what the Latin name is for all these. And I'm going to come in with some million bells or mini petunias. And the reveal. It's so exciting to see what we're going to get. Oh, that's interesting. Loving how that turned out. I'm thinking on the petunias, I might try hammering not so hard, and maybe there'll be more definition rather than just smudged color. But that's gorgeous. And next we're going to try some fuchsias. So on this one, you can't really tell that they were fuchsia flowers, but I'm liking the abstractness of it. And it's got a little bit smudgy up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I've got one more here. So I'm going to add another one up in here, and that will get rid of some of that smudging. And there's that one with the added flower up here. More abstract, but it's still really beautiful. So I'm going to do another hydrangea, just with the flowers and no leaves behind it, so we get a more precise print of just the flowers. Hydrangeas that aren't supposed to work. Well, I don't know about that. I think you should give them a try. There's the hydrangeas. And I'm going to do another impatience for you, just so it's more clear of exactly what we're getting. Here's 3 bookmarks that I've done, and I'm happy with the composition, and I think I would just leave those alone without adding any more embellishments. And here's 3 more that I think I will just leave alone. This one is more simplified, but I like it. Sometimes less is more. And these ones might want some defining, and I'm going to show you how I do that. There are a ton of ways for you to enhance your artwork and your pounded flowers or whatever you're working on. One way I like to do it is just to have fun and do some doodling on it. I like to use the PIGMA MICRON pens, and I quite often use the number 03 and 05, and these are waterproof. Let's start on this flower down here and just do something very loose. I'm not going to try to copy the outline. I'm just going to make lines, and we're just going to do a loose outline on the outside here. And as you can see, I'm not trying to copy the design, but just loosely going around it. Same thing with coming inside here. Let's just form a few more little petals. Let's come in here and make some petals. Maybe another one in here, one in here, one in here, and then we can do something funky in the middle. That's something, just a very, very loose way to do it. If you want, you can come in and add some more detail and come in here and put in some lines into your stem. And if you just kind of do a brush, kind of just a really light brushing with your pen, it almost looks like a pencil, but it kind of gives you some shading. I'm not trying to go down too hard. As you can see, it almost makes it look like it's a pencil. And because this is the bottom of the flower and here's the stem, you might want to come in here and darken it up a bit to make it look like shadowing. There's so many little techniques you can use. This is just some. You might think it looks like scribbling, but it's just the effect that you want to create for your artwork. Being that we've used this technique here, let's come in again and do the same thing and just come in and do kind of some scribbling kind of lines. Just scribbling. Everyone can scribble. And that makes it real easy, takes the pressure off the artwork. And then maybe in here, let's just give it a center. And again, it doesn't have to be realistic. You can just add whatever features you want. Here, I'm just adding some circles. And again, on this one, let's going to come in and we're going to do some darker scribbles just to give it some dimension around the center. And then on the sides of your flowers, you might want to come in and darken up some of those edges there, just to give it some depth and dimension. And that's it. That's as much as I'm going to do. And just to have this whole bookmark look similar, I'm going to do the same technique on these other flowers. And I think I will just speed this up a bit, and then we'll get on to some other techniques. Maybe on this one, I might choose to come in and outline this shape here. And put a whole pile of circles inside here. You can do whatever you want. You can turn it into a doodle, you can turn it into something realistic. I'm just giving you kind of ideas that you can play with, and you can make it your own art. And if you want to make those look a little bit more like their seed pods or whatever they are, then you can come in and you can actually go around all of those circles and fill them in. I've added the little circles in each one of these, and then I think for this one, let's just bring down the bottom here, and this time I'm just going to come in and make a whole pile of lines, coming back down to that same center right there. Like so. And I'm going to do the same for this one. Got a little carried away with my lines, so I'll just fix those up. That's that. And then we just need to bring these flowers into it somehow. So I'm just going to come in and give it a little bit of a stem. And let's bring it all the way down and through, just to make it a little more arty. And let's continue with the lines. So I'm just going to come around and make a real loosey-goosey border. Let's bring a circle into the middle here, another loosey-goosey. And we're just going to draw lines from the outside and come all the way into the center, all the way around. Like so. For the stem, I'm going to just do this little squiggle all the way down the stem. Now I'm just showing you how to embellish something that you think was a failure. It didn't have any details, but you can still use it to make some great artwork, and you've got this beautiful natural dye in the background. If you've got a card like this that you're really happy with, then you don't have to do any embellishments. So I'm going to do the same for this one as I did up in here. A few little circles here and there. It just seems to pull it together a little bit and make it pop. Either 3 or 5 is good. And that one's done. And the other fun way to embellish is to use a gold pin. This is Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pin, gold. So I'm just going to go around the outline in gold. And I'm going to pop just some little dots in the middle of the flowers. And a few dots here and there, just to put something in the background. And the gold pen just gives it another little bit of a pop. And these are 2 of the greeting cards I did. Again, I think we need to add a little bit of embellishments, maybe some stems from the flowers, and let's see how we can make these ones pop. Just seem to be kind of swimming around by themselves, so let's try to bring them all together. So I'm just going to loosely outline them. Again, I'm not looking to be perfect. And this one here down here, it's obviously a petal over here. And I'm going to force this to make that into a center. And I'm just going to make some white petals over here just to make it look like it's more of a flower. Not that, you know, more of an abstract flower. That's okay. I'm going to do a double line around the outside of these, and I'm purposely trying to make it squiggly. I'm not trying to make it the same. Squiggles better. More squiggles, the better. And now let's give it some more dimension. Now this was a petunia, but you can make it anything you want because you're the artist. maybe a few leaves here and there. Give it a few stems. Pop in a leaf. And again, this isn't meant to be accurate as exactly the flower is. We started with petunias, but you can turn it into whatever you want. You can give your leaves some veins. And I didn't give this flower a stem, so I'm going to just sneak one in here. And that one that wasn't great for imprints has now been embellished with the pen, and now we've got a nice little card. And this one didn't look like much of anything either, and I just went around and I outlined the outline of the flowers, put some little starburst centers in, did a little squiggly line around these ones. Now, because we hammered the flowers, the pigment can sometimes go through to the back side. Now, if you want to give these as gifts or you want to even sell them, whatever, I would come in with some acrylic paint and go over the back side and paint them so they look nice and clean on the back. And it might take a couple coats. Once your back sides are all dry, I like to put them in this box I keep for spraying with my top coats. Then I can take this and take it outside. It's portable. Or make sure you're in a well-ventilated room. I have two options for you. You can use a gloss. That's by ACRYLIC. It's a low-odor clear gloss. Or you can do matte. And this one's by Liquitex, a matte varnish. So just for fun, I'm going to do the top row in the ACRYLIC, and that is the gloss. And just read the directions on the back of the can. It'll tell you to shake it for 2 to 3 minutes, how far to hold it away in a steady motion. So let's do these ones. So this is dry to the touch in 20 minutes, and you can handle it in an hour. But because I'm impatient, I'm going to take these out, get these sprayed with the Liquitex, and then we'll be all done. The Liquitex matte varnish does say it's for acrylic paint only. This is pigments, so I don't know. So I'm going to do a test just on one first and see what we get. It hasn't dried yet, I just sprayed it, but it looks like it'll be just fine. I'm going to let these dry for about an hour, and then I'll let you know what I think about each one of these. And here they are after they've all dried. This row here, I used the ACRYLIC clear gloss. And I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can see a little bit of a shine in there. It's not real glossy, but that has protected those ones. And this one here, this whole row we did with the Liquitex matte varnish. I'm quite happy with this one. I can actually almost feel a nice light coating on there. And I have a lot of confidence that this is well protected. So I would say that this would be my first choice, but it's a little bit of a superior product, I believe, to the ACRYLIC. But both would work. So there you go. And your choice of what you want to add for a little tassel. You can use embroidery thread. This is jute. This is macrame cord. This is raffia paper. So you can choose whatever you want. And to get, for instance, a macrame cord through the little hole, you can always use a small crochet hook, one that will fit through the hole of your bookmark, just hook it on, and then get that to pass through to the back side. And then once you're through, just tuck those two ends into your loop, pull it up, just unravel them, and you'll have a nice little tassel. There you go. Well, that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the process. And if you need to get some little yayas out and get that hammer out and start pounding, and then you get to end up with some beautiful artwork. And I end up making a lot of bookmarks and 3 greeting cards out of it. Now, I did mention in the beginning of the video that the pigment from the hammered flowers do not last forever. So I will post some information on a variety of flowers and how long they will last in the description box below this video. I'll also give you a list of the best flowers to try and ones that just don't work quite as well. Even though they say the hydrangea is not the best, I was happy with the hydrangea. It's right in the middle here, this one here. But I was happy with that one in the end. It is really exciting to see that image appear on the paper after you've hammered the flower. So give it a try. It's really quite fun. Don't worry about that you're damaging the flower. I mean, this is the end of the season and they're pretty much ready to go. So whether they die on the plant or whether I have some everlasting, well, not everlasting, but have some artwork out of it before they are gone, then why not? So if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell for the next video because you never know what Crafty Patti is up to next. Until then, bye-bye.